All right, so this is the end of the Chapter 9 pre-AP test review. So if you need, I'm going to go ahead and start with problem 22. Problems 1 through 21 are on the other two videos if you need those. All right, so it says the bar graph shows the results of a survey asking students about their favorite snacks. How many more students chose fruit and cheese than popcorn and trail mix? So if I go ahead and look at how many chose fruit, looks like that's between 8 and 10, so that would be 9. Cheese is between 6 and 8, we'll call that 7. Popcorn is 5. And trail mix is 4. All right, so fruit and cheese, if I add those together, 9 plus 7, I get 16. Popcorn and trail mix, if I add those together, I get 9. I want to know how many more. So 16 minus 9 is 7. So 7 more students would choose fruit and cheese than popcorn and trail mix. There's no percents or anything on this, so it's just a straight answer. So, all right, on 23, it says a product testing group compares 2 brands of trail mix to determine the number of raisins per ounce of mix. 2 pounds of each brand's mix is separated into 32 1-ounce servings. Which statement best describes the shape of the data distribution for brand A compared to the shape of the data distribution for brand B? All right, so A says the data distribution for brand A is slightly skewed left, while the distribution for brand B is close to symmetric. All right, so if we look at the 2 graphs, brand A, it's saying it's slightly skewed left. So that means that we're going to see more values on the right. And then close to symmetric means they're pretty much the same on both sides. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's not saying is symmetrical. It's just saying close to symmetric. So I can kind of see how some of these are mirroring each of those. My daughter was just telling me that the way they remember skewed left in her statistics class is that the tail of the data is on the left. So if you look at brand A, I can see that this kind of looks like a tail on the left. So I would say this is a maybe. Let's see what the other answers say. The data distribution for brand A is close to symmetric, while the distribution for brand B is slightly skewed right. So this is my right. I would not say that this is skewed right. And this, I can see where this might be symmetrical, but not this one. If I'm looking at, if I divide my graph in half, this side is not the same as this. So I would say no to B. The data distributions for brand A and B are slightly skewed right. All right, so I'm going to look for, if they're skewed right, this one's not skewed right at all, I don't think. So I can say that this is not skewed right. If this is skewed right, then I'm saying that there's a tail on the right. And this is not a tail, that's more of a peak. So I'd say no. All right, the data distributions for brand A and brand B are close to symmetric. So again, we've already determined this top one is not symmetric. This one maybe, but they're both not symmetric. So I would say no. So I'm going to go with A. This is slightly skewed left. So we have our tail on the left, and then we have close to symmetric on brand B. All right, number 24. Jeremy is hired by Netflix to make recommendations about movies. He conducts a survey about people's favorite types of movies based on the survey results, which is true, about the movies Jeremy should recommend. So Jeremy should recommend equal numbers of each type of movie. All right, so based on the survey they did, if he should recommend equal numbers of each type of movie, then these would all be the same number, and that's not true. So this is not going to be my answer. B says no more than 6% of Jeremy's movie recommendations should be foreign films. Right? So if I look at foreign compared to the rest, it is pretty small. So if I'm going to get 6%, I'm going to have to find a comparison of the part to the whole. So in order to do that, I have to figure out how many people were surveyed. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 5 is 10. Carry your 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. All right, so I'm going to compare 3 over 50 and change that to a percent. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do that up here. So 3 out of 50. If I go ahead and divide 50 into 3, I'm going to have to add a decimal and a 0. 50 won't go into 30, so I'm going to put a 0 there and add another 0. 50 will go into 300 6 times. And so that, if I change to a percent, becomes 6%. All right, so if he says no more than 6% of his recommendation should be foreign films. And I would agree with that. 6% shows foreign films, so he might want to go any higher than that. And that's a definite maybe. All right, Jeremy should recommend 50% fewer action movies than comedies. I'm going to compare action to comedies. Okay, and so he said 50% fewer. So if I compare action to comedy, there were 15 action and 20 comedy. So is 50% less than comedy? I would say no. So if action were 10%, you might could say that, but not a comparison of 15 to 20. So that's not true. Jeremy should recommend about 1.5 times as many action movies as drama. So if I take the action movies, the dramas, all right, so I'm saying he should recommend 1.5 times as many action as dramas. All right. So if I take the drama movies and I multiply by 1.5 times, that should give me action. That's what that's saying. So if I do 12, and I'm going to change 1/2 to 0.5 times 1.5, gives me 10. Carry your 1 is 6. Start with a 0, 2, and 1, and then add those up, and I get 18. All right, so I would say that is not true. So 1.5 times the number of drama does not give me the number of action. So I'm going to go with B, no more than 6% should be foreign films. All right, and then the last one, 25. A travel brochure says the average length of shoreline in the 5 states is 2,599 miles. The lengths of the shorelines are shown in the table. Explain how this could be misleading. All right, so first I'm just going to see if the average length is really 2,599 times. So I'm going to remember average is mean. So I need to just add these up. So 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 5 is 16, plus 9 is 25. All right, yeah. And carry my 2. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 9 is 12, 14. 14 plus 7 is 21, plus 8 is 29. Carry your 2. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9, and then 3 plus 3 plus 3, that's 12. 12,995, and then I'm going to divide that by 5. So 12 will go in, or 5 will go into 12 twice, and that gives me 2. Bring down my 9. 5 will go into 29 5 times. 25. That's 4. Bring down my 9. 9 will go in, or 5 will go into 49 9 times. And then bring down my 5, and I'll go 9 times. Okay, so it says the average length is 2,599 miles. That is the average length, so it's not that they were misleading in whether or not that's truly the average length. Okay, so why else would this be misleading? All right, so if I told you, if I looked at the 5 states right here and said that they all have about 2,500 miles of shoreline, okay, based on the average. They all should have about that much shoreline. Then it's not so wrong for the first 4, but when you look at Pennsylvania, it has drastically less, right, than 2,599. So grouping it with the rest of these states just makes it seem like it has a lot more shoreline than it actually does. So that's, to me, what is misleading about saying the average is 2,599. So that's going to be what I write up here. So I would say saying the average length, or the average length, yeah, length of shoreline is misleading. Because, let's see, Pennsylvania, miles of shoreline which is not close to 2,599. You could also say something about the other 4 states, whereas the other 4 states have over 3,000 miles.